So, we're going to do another one of our short intro videos with Paul. And so, I met Paul in the first or second lockdown?
Second lockdown.
Second lockdown. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
But obviously, these short intro videos to Xperience PT and the coaches is about talking about our how. So obviously, we've always felt that I guess the more we dive into how we can exercise, the more value we can deliver to clients that maybe isn't as tangible as you'd imagine. It's not just the results; it's the whole experience, right? That's why we kind of started the brand, the team thing to be able to do something a bit more special in terms of helping people manage their health and their fitness. And so, we met in lockdown, needed a gym pretty much. And because of our outdoor area, we obviously, within certain time frames of lockdowns, were allowed to keep that open. And straight away, you came down and I guess experienced something you didn't expect to find here kind of thing. And obviously we started chatting and realized that you have a ridiculous amount of kind of time as a coach, coaching everything from whatever outdoor group boot camps, PTs, and obviously your main interest yourself is in triathlons, Ironman kind of distances, just multi-sport endurance kind of events basically.
Yeah.
And certainly I've learned more from you in terms of endurance, I guess performance, than I've learned from every book and every person I've ever met that fits within that kind of remit. And I know, for example, my client who's signed up to do a ridiculous documentary following her doing back-to-back ultra marathons. I'm not the guy to talk to her about ultra marathons
I
because
just literally got off the phone for an hour.
amazing. So there you go. So I've not run an ultra marathon, although I think sadly yesterday I might have agreed to do the first day with her.
Right, okay.
So anyway, so that's me running 50 miles. But but obviously
hope it's 30.
Hope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna load that dice. Anyway, so make sure you look at running for Instagram for Susie's story about that documentary. But anyway, going back to you coaching and the little nuggets of wisdom that you've managed to share with me and people like Susie that have made such a big difference is a big part of why I'm excited about Xperience PT and all the content that we can share, all the how-to guides that go beyond 3 sets of 10 of this and yada 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 and the basic, to me, patronizing nutrition advice, exercise advice, fitness advice that I guess people have heard over and over again over the last few decades that just seems to kind of cycle through itself. And I think like we know more about coaching now. We know more about exercise and not just achieving the results, but doing it in a way that's engaging, enjoyable, and becomes, I guess something that people want to do consistently. So for you, your how did you get into multi-sport, events like Ironman?
Well, so I used to play football, and I had I was pushing the boundaries anyway of what I could achieve football-wise at my age, and I had what would have been a career-ending injury 5 years earlier, and had to stop playing football. So I looked at other stuff that I wanted to do, and I was like, I quite fancy this. But I used to be a very good swimmer, and I was like, I fancy a really good challenge, and read these statistics that just a tiny percentage of people would ever complete an Ironman. So I was like, I'll give that a go. But rather foolishly, I didn't just set that as the goal. I set the goal as to compete at the World Championships. And a year in, it became quite apparent that I was never going to be good enough to compete at the World Championships unless I went through what Ironman call their legacy program, which is essentially a stamp your card and get the 12th one free. So if you competed at 12 Ironman, you went into a lottery to compete at the World Championships. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and that basically has scuppered.
That was your trip to Hawaii.
Yeah, the year COVID hit was was the year I would have qualified. But I did the European Championships. I don't think I could have done much more. Like age was now playing a factor where trying to achieve better than I achieved 8-9 years earlier was really going to be tricky. And yeah, it was tough, but it was an experience I wouldn't necessarily change.
Yeah, totally.
Equally, one that I'm not sure I would get back to the level that I'd want to do the World Championships at is probably unachievable
Yeah.
now. I just don't have the time.
I totally know what you mean, and I, you know, I guess people that spend time with us that themselves are interested in competitions or events or whatever. Why don't you compete?
Hmm.
And it's like, because I don't want to,
I've done that.
and yeah, I've done
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I don't enjoy it
yeah,
really. I definitely don't enjoy. I mean, the event is one thing, and I think this is something people don't understand. It's like it's not the pressure of an event. It's if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to train for it, and if I have to train for that one thing,
yeah,
there are sort of sacrifices. And you know, if my thing is I enjoy my exercise every day, if I sign up for the event, I'm probably not going to enjoy my exercise as much
yeah,
leading up
100%.
to that event.
For something as time, what's the word?
It's a big time commitment.
Yeah, it's such a time investment for an Ironman. You are looking at that's the only exercise you're going to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can go from being an amazing specimen
Yeah.
to a ridiculously skinny racing snake
Yeah.
in the course of a year and a half, and that may be not the way that most people would want to go.
Yeah.
And then from a competing point of view, you have a couple of bits that were becoming harder and harder mentally to deal with. You'd see people that you just should be beat you. That's horrible. And it took probably quite a while for someone to say to me that on the start line, comparison was the thief of joy. So I'd look around and see all these other people and be like, I would already be starting the race in a bad headspace because of everybody you're competing against. But at that level, I'm competing against international athletes.
Yeah.
I'm never an international athlete. I'm a decent amateur at best. So it was robbing the building everything towards one A race was robbing the enjoyment out of it. It was becoming a job that you don't get paid for. And the time commitment, the financial investment. Each Ironman race is £500 to enter minimum, plus hotels, which they ramp price hike the prices up for, plus flights. You're probably looking at the race is going to cost you £2,000. And that's a lot of money. Over 10 seasons. And then after the event, you have, which nobody ever talks about, is the post-event blues, where you've had the high and now you're in a trough, and you literally are wandering around aimless with, like, if you spent 12 years with one sole target and then it's gone.
Me and Kurt were talking about when trainers, especially, kind of focus on one thing. If that one thing becomes, you know, not important to them or their clients, then all of a sudden it's finding that next thing kind of thing, you know, which is obviously from our professional perspective important, but I guess as you said, it's important for us to always have something that we enjoy to kind of move forward to create that consistency around. So yeah, no, it's interesting, man, and certainly, I mean, like, you know, when you're talking about time commitment from a training perspective, totally get that. I remember when I ran the London Marathon, that was the weakest I've ever been, because I was so focused on just running. So I wasn't doing a lot of other kind of training kind of things. So, but I guess, you know, like I said, the lessons you've taught me, and they go beyond just how to run and how to swim and how to ride a bike and how to fuel those things. Certainly, I mean, some of the stuff you showed me in terms of like intra-event fueling isn't written in a book anywhere. I mean, and that's the thing about, like, when you're working with coaches that have so much experience of doing it and being around that world, they've got lessons that you can't learn. And so you know, there's I think so much value in, obviously, what you are able to share with all of our clients, from that you know, perspective of being in the trenches as such. But now you've got, I guess, the coaching, I guess, experience, not just of yourself, but people that you've done those events with. When I've seen you sit down with clients who are, especially when they're in a negative mindset, headspace about their body, their fitness, they're kind of almost their why, you know, like, they're not happy with their fitness, their body shape, whatever, but they're in such a bad place they can't even get started. I think you've more successfully turned around people that maybe I would have failed with because you've been in that space.
I'm still
You've
in that
had
space.
those moments where you've not wanted to train.
Yeah.
You've not been happy with whatever your physical performance, yada yada yada, and you've managed to turn it around. And having that real life experience again is coaching you're not going to learn on a PT course. You're not going to get it out of the manual.
Yeah.
And I don't see it very often in, you know, my 15 years plus in the fitness industry. A lot of coaches miss that. They focus on this is how you do this rather than this is why you can do this.
Yeah. It's to a certain degree, it's getting across that your fitness journey is exactly that. It's a journey, and there's going to be bits that are downhill and easy, and there's going to be bits that are uphill and really, really hard.
Yeah.
And the only thing you're not going to do is stop. So as long as you can keep going, you'll get over the top of whatever hill you're currently struggling with. Be that me currently rehabbing an injury that's meant that I've not been able to train for 6 months, put on a stone, and I'm not in a great place training wise, but I know that I'm now sort of getting near the top. The rehab started, which means I can start to be more active, and I know that there's better times to come.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about.
Yeah, exactly. And then for me, picking the next thing, it won't be an Ironman. It just can't be, because it's 40 hours of training a week on top of a job, on top of 2 kids. Like, I could half-ass it.
Yeah.
And I could probably do one with next to no training, but it'd be horrible.
Yeah.
But picking that next thing is going to give me that positive, like, it's a target, it's something to achieve. You know, I might not get there, but I'll be working towards it. And then working here with my background in multi-sport events, I mean, whether you're going from swimming to cycling to running, or going from row to sled to ski, the multi-discipline events transfers really well with high rocks and even CrossFit. It's like, it's all multi-discipline for the most part, but just with different technical aspects.
Totally,
and you're less likely to fall off.
And that, all right, man. Well, yeah, exciting time. So, you know, you guys are going to see a lot of amazing how-to videos from Paul, and it's as you said, going to go beyond, I guess triathlons, but dive into high rocks, dive into CrossFits, and a lot of the different group exercise experience that he's got, he'll be able to share with you guys. So definitely make sure you guys subscribe, hit the little bell so you get all the notifications when we put out new videos. Follow the Instagram account as well, so you get a little snapshot of what we're going to be sharing with you as we create more content for you guys to enjoy exercise more.